Hi, this is Betsy Pruitt with bellyfeathers.com, and this is part 3 of my Frazzled to Fabulous How to Plan a Party to Remember series. In part 3, we're going to work on seeming effortless as a hostess. And surprisingly, being effortless actually takes some effort, but it's really not that hard once you know what you're looking for. So to seem effortless, we need to know our limits as a hostess, and that includes our effort and skill level, our time that we have to plan the party, and the budget we have to work with. So to give you an example, if I have a party in only 3 days' time, and I've seen this fabulous photo on Pinterest with these awesome tablecloths, I'd really love to have those tablecloths, but I don't have the time to order them online. So I think, you know what, maybe I'll just go on to Joann Fabrics, get some fabric, and I'll sew some tablecloths. I've actually never sewn tablecloths before, but I do have a sewing machine, and I think, I can probably sew a straight line. I've never done it before, but I can do it. That is a disaster waiting to happen. You only have 3 days left to plan your party and you've never sewn. That's just beyond your skill and effort and time that you have to put into this project. So don't do that to yourself. You'll totally get stressed out. Also, your budget is a big limit that you need to know to work with. You don't want to spend all of your money on a party and not have any money for groceries the next week. That's a recipe for disaster too, because like we said, the main thing people are going to remember about your party is how you make them feel. Do you make them feel comfortable? And if you've spent all of your money on this party, as people throw things in the trash like food, they don't eat it all, you're going to have this crazy person eagle eye for that kind of stuff. You're going to be walking around and you're going to be hating on people for not eating all their food. You're going to ask people, you're seriously not going to throw that away, are you? And that's because you spent all your budget on this party. Don't do that. Stay within a manageable budget that you can work with. Also, practice. Never on the day of your party try a recipe that you've never made before. That's just maybe not going to work out well. It's much better to stick with a list of tried and true recipes that are already in your repertoire. Also, go ahead and pull out your serving dishes that you're going to use for this event. Personally, I always remember things being a lot bigger than they actually are. So if I'm going to serve at my margarita party chicken verde for 20 people, and I think to myself, I've got this perfect orange serving dish, it's just the right color, I'm going to serve that in there. And then if I wait on to the day of the party to pull that out, I'll realize, oh my gosh, there is only enough room in this dish for 4 people. What am I going to do for the rest of the chicken verde? So don't do that. Go ahead and pull that out weeks in advance and lay some eyes on it. Also, I highly recommend trying the out of the ordinary for you. It's a great way to delight your guests, but do practice those things ahead of time so that you know if that's something that you're capable of or if that's something you just need to scrap from the list. So put that on your timetable to try out way in advance. This is really a super important way to de-stress. We need to have our timetable. In the previous video, we talked about the timetable and creating these manageable lists at different time intervals. And that's really important because we want to have short manageable lists. When you list those things out, you can see if that's a realistic list of things that you can get done in that timetable. If it's not, maybe you can move some of those things to a different interval on the timetable. Maybe move those things for the week of the party, move some of those back to 2 weeks ahead. Or maybe you'll realize that list is too long and some of these things just aren't that important, so I'm going to scrap them from the list altogether. As we said, we want to keep in mind making our guests feel comfortable at this party, and a big part of that is that we're not stressed out. So we need to have these points of no return, that's what I call them, and I have those on both the day before the party and the day of the party. So to give you an example, on the day before the party, I'm a night owl, so I'll typically stay up till about midnight doing things. And so for the day before, I'm going to set midnight as my point of no return. At midnight, whatever didn't get done on that day before list, those things are just going to fall away completely. If they had been important, I probably would have reprioritized the day and have done those earlier to make sure they got done. So if they don't get done by midnight, they're just not that important. They'll fall away. What you absolutely don't want to do is to take those things you didn't get to and move those to the day of party list on your timetable. That's a recipe for disaster as well, because you have that day of list at a manageable level. If you try to add more things to those, you're adding stress to yourself on the day of the party, and that's a big no-no. So on that day of the party list on your timetable, we have a point of no return for that as well. For my margarita party example, that party was at 7 o'clock, so I set my point of no return at 1 o'clock. That seems really early. That's 6 hours before the party. But don't forget that we have an hour before the party list, so that's just really a 5-hour break, but that's still pretty significant. And that's important because that gives us plenty of time to cool down and relax. Anything that I don't get done by 1 o'clock, those things are going to fall away. They're not important. I'm not going to dwell on them. I'm not going to even give them a second thought, because I need that time to maybe sit down and relax for 30 minutes, have a glass of water, watch a little TV, just chill, then go and take my shower, get ready, put my makeup on, do my hair just the way I want, so that as guests arrive, I'm very relaxed and I'm excited. I've already taken a look at all my hard work at this party, soaked it in, it looks fabulous, and now I'm ready for guests to come and enjoy it. So very, very important for staying fabulous with this party. Early birds. I hate these people. Who are these people that show up 30 minutes before your party? Really, they want to be helpful. They want to help you do things, but really that can be a stressful situation if you're trying to run around like a mad person and get things done, and these people showed up. So like I said, with our list of things to do, our timetable, we've got that down to a list. We've thought about what needs to get done, so we're just executing on things. But we need to take in mind these early birds and have a few things in mind that as they arrive, they want to be helpful. Have some things that you can point those people to do so that they're out of your way and they're feeling helpful. So plan for those early birds to arrive. This is a personal pet peeve of mine. Never mention how much work went into a party. This really robs guests of relaxation at your event. If your guests arrived and you're a frazzled mess, you've sweated off all your makeup, and then you start talking about, oh my gosh, you were preparing the food, and then this burnt, and oh my god, your house smelled so bad, and you didn't know what to do, and then so-and-so showed up 30 minutes early, I can't believe she would do that. That really makes your guests feel uncomfortable. They actually wish, oh gosh, I wish I hadn't have shown up at 7. I wish I had just shown up 30 minutes to an hour fashionably late. I wish I could just leave and drive around the block while she calms down. It really stresses your guests out, so don't do that. Just shh. Keep all those things to yourself. Ooh. If you're a perfectionist like me, this perfection monster is always lurking. That's what we call it at my house. Being perfect or striving for perfection, that's really an unattainable standard that I hold myself up to. And if you're like me, you do too. So just know that he's always lurking, wanting to tell you that your house is never clean enough to have company, or if you only had this decoration, then you could throw this party, or if I could afford this, then I could have people over. Don't listen to him. Don't get discouraged. Know that things are never going to be quite perfect enough. Keep in mind that simple is better. In part 1 of this video series, we talked about it only takes 3 elements to execute a theme beautifully. So don't feel like you have to do more than those 3 things. Remember that imperfection creates comfort. If somebody comes to your house and they see a little pile of junk mail over here, or maybe a pile of clutter in this corner over here, it makes them feel like it's more real. This is a house that people live in. This house is more like mine. I feel comfortable, like I can sit on the couch and just kick back and relax and have a great time. If I go to a house where everything's perfect, it kind of feels stuffy and uncomfortable, like I have to be super careful. So just remember, imperfection really goes a long way to making your guests feel comfortable. And then finally, expect things to go wrong. This is a great tip I learned from my boss in the corporate world. I'm a planner. I like things to be perfect. I hate when things don't go according to plan. But when I mentally plan for things to go wrong, then it makes me feel a lot better when those things happen. I don't know how those things are going to manifest themselves or when they're going to happen, but I'll tell you they usually happen on the day of. But when I know that those things are going to go wrong, it's not a surprise when they do happen, and I can just quickly create like a solution to that problem, acknowledge it, move on, and then I don't have to dwell on it. No big deal. So that's the final kind of piece to the planning a party, how to go from frazzled to fabulous. We daydream for a concept, we create lists and more lists, a list of manageable things that we can get done before the party and a timetable to work with, and then we work on seeming effortless. It's really that simple. So I hope that you'll be planning a party soon using these tips. And before we go, I wanted to share with you what I do for parties. I design party printables. And what are those? Those are really affordable, unique, and super easy party supplies that you can print at home. These files come as a PDF of coordinated products, and in this example, there's a banner, cupcake toppers, favor tags, an invitation, water bottle labels, and a cute entryway sign for a mermaid party. And then you can use these. They come with instructions that are easy to follow of all the tools and the methods that I would use to actually create these party supplies myself so that you can feel very comfortable. And this is an example shot of a cute bubble bath favor that I made using this collection. Also, I wanted to recommend some books that I love on party planning if you want more information. There's a great book called The Art and Craft of Entertaining by Kimberly Kennedy. It's a great primer on throwing your first party. It gives lots of colorful examples and walks you through the process. Also, The Reluctant Entertainer by Sandy Coughlin. If you want to plan a party, or you always feel like as you plan a party that something's holding you back, you're not sure what it is, or maybe you are, this is a great resource to coach you through that and help you overcome those obstacles. Also, if you have party planning questions, please feel free to email me at betsy@bellyfeathers.com. I'm always happy to help. And feel free to join me on Facebook, Pinterest, and Twitter, where I share original party ideas and also recipes. So thanks so much, and check me out on bellyfeathers.com.